Hey everyone, welcome back to Exit 45, and we're gonna work on my Honda Civic today. It's a 2016, and as you can see here, I've got 376,000 miles on this so far, and I have not touched the shocks and struts. So these things are running pretty bad. So let's get at it today. I need to get those things changed out. So I'm going to bring you guys along, show you the ups and downs, and, hopefully it helps somebody. Okay, guys, so this is what I got. These came from Rock Auto. It's the complete kit, so it's kind of nice. I don't have to worry about compressing a spring and trying to get all that done. It's a little cheaper, if you want to get just the shock unit inside and replace the spring, or just put your old spring on there. I feel like if I got close to 400,000 on my car, that spring probably needs to be replaced. Anyway, so there's that. These are right and left. So right here, it says L, the other one says R. I figured that out, but, just to be honest, I put them on the wrong side. So I set them on the wrong side. Anyways, these are the shocks for the back. And that's it. Nothing special, guys. I didn't go all out. I don't know how many miles this car has left, so I wasn't going to go spend big money on it. So the next thing I want to do before we get started, I'm going to just take you guys for a quick walk and show you everything that needs to be taken off of this thing. So if you look here, this bracket, and there's a bolt right there. So that needs to come off. And I've already kind of walked through this trying to find everything that needs to come off. So I'm doing this just like you guys would. I've not done this before. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just using common sense and going through this before I start to figure out what needs to happen. So this is what I found. You got one bolt here. I'll tell you what size it is when I go to take it off. There's another bolt back here. And there's no nut on that bolt. It just threads into this piece right here. So when you do this, I've got a jack sitting up holding this up because I'm pretty sure at this point that the only thing holding this up is this. So I think once I loosen that, this is going to want to come down. And I want it to come down. It's going to need to for me to get this, get this all out of here. But I want to have that controlled. Anyways, and this is the other bolt that I found that needs to come off right here. And that's everything that I could see from down there. And then up here in the engine compartment, you got 3 bolt or nuts here that need to come off, and that should allow this to drop down. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll muddle through this together. But I think this will be a good reference for you guys who are out there going to be trying this. All right, this is a number 12 over here on the brake line bracket. I'll just take that off. All right, so there you go. That came off nicely. And there's the bolt. So that should be just fine and out of the way. 14. So this will be a 14. So let's get that one off. Okay, there's that. So now we got that separated, and I believe the last thing now that needs to come loose will be the big bolt that holds the shock or the strut to the hub assembly.
Get your equalizer.
Let's put a little leverage on this, science the crap out of it. There we go.
Now you got to figure the torques out on this thing.
Good and tight.
Didn't I?
Again, guys, I'm doing this just like you. I know by pulling it apart how tight it was. So I know whether it's something I really need to lean into or, you know, if it's not something I need to lean into. Now, what I want to do, because I've looked this over and I don't feel like there's anything else holding these together, I'm going to go ahead and bring the jack down just a little bit. And if it doesn't break loose from the jack, I'll stop it and just leave a little bit of room below it. And then I'll tap on this to see if I can't get it to come down. I just don't want it falling because you've got your half shafts here, your axles. But you do not want this to fall and fall this way.
You don't need it
and
to
have
come
the
out.
axles come out of your transmission. So we want to try and do this as controlled as possible. Let's let that jack down.
Well,
So I got my kinder, gentler hammer, and then I've got the enforcer. So we'll try it the nice way first. Ah, dang. All right, not so difficult. It's coming down. See it?
uh-huh.
So we're just going to keep a handle on this. Okay, now I'm going to get the jack down a little bit. Oh, well, more down. Man,
A long way.
sure is a lot longer than I thought. That's all right. I'd rather take it slow and try to keep it as controlled as possible because I have no idea what's going to happen once this separates. I don't know where it's going to want to go or anything. So this will be as big a surprise to me as it is to you.
Not any farther. Maybe you have to loosen the nuts on top.
Huh. Yeah, she's not. So I'm going to go ahead and there doesn't appear to be any real pressure on this, so I'm not too concerned about it popping at this point. It does feel like it wants to flop this way, so I'll be careful of that. But I think we're going to go up top and we're going to bust those loose. 12s. Yep. So I'm not going to take the last two off completely because I don't know what's going to happen. I'd rather not.
It's coming up.
All right, so I think we can go ahead and bust these loose. And I'm too tall in here to try and get this past that. Oh, I mean, it's still way down to here. I know those of you who have done this before are laughing at me, but I want to try and do this and figure it out on my own. So laugh away. We're struggling to get this whole axle or hub assembly here to come down far enough to clear and get this out of here. So we went ahead and popped off the steering linkage out here on the steering arm. I busted it loose. Just there's a cotter key in there. You pull the cotter key, break this loose. Don't run it all the way off. Just run it down, run it off until you've got a few threads, and then boop, boop, until it pops down. And then you're like this. It comes right out. No big deal. There it is. Now we can get that kind of out of our way. Again, put the nut back on so you don't lose it. Like maybe I've done that before. Anyway, that's kind of what we've done next. So we've added that to what we're doing. way to go.
Ooh, a whole bunch.
Yeah, I don't see where we're going to get enough travel with this hooked to the bottom A-arm down here. Everything's broke loose. We got our steerings broke loose. We got our sway bars broke loose, which it has to be, but the A-arm's only going down so much. It's stopping us about an inch short of where we need it to be. So I think I'm going to have to pull the 3 bolts underneath here. There's 1, 2, and 3. There you go. You can see them there. Pop those 3 bolts, and then that will separate the entire hub from the car. I might even put this back on because I don't think this needs to come out. I think we can leave that in. That will help keep this tied to the car as well. So let's bring you in and give you the update. So here's our A-arm. You can see the holes where the on the bottom of the hub assembly here. There's some bolts that go through here, and I showed them to you. There was the nuts. We got those. We pried the 2 apart, and this thing come loose, and it was hanging. I had to hold it because we were putting a lot of pressure on our sensor line here and our brake line. So we got the jack back underneath it to hold it. So just for your guys' sake here, it gives you plenty of room now. So I did not have to take the steering off. So scratch that. You can leave that on. But you do have to bust off the 3 bolts under here. Take the bolts or the nuts off, and then separate your hub assembly from this. And it is a lot of pressure. This thing wants to spring up. So you have to kind of pry in there, get these 2 apart, and be careful of your boot right here and this bracket right here, okay? It wants to kind of go into it, so just be real careful as you're doing this. Have a jack underneath and ready to go. Pull it down. So you're going to pull out here, pull it down and this way, and now that is just hanging there and free as easy to come out, all right? Let me pull it out.
Wow.
There we go. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to put the new one in. I'm going to go set it next to the old one here in a second and make sure everything's correct. But these are your 3 holes where you put your nuts. This is your lining hole. It lines you up. So this is facing the correct direction. If you look up here, there's a hole right here in the shock tower that pin goes into. And that will keep this facing the right direction so everything else underneath here works. We're good. So we're going to bring this up. Okay, you can see our line up pin here, right there. You can see how it's in there, and that keeps us turned the right direction. Trying to figure out the best way. So I'm probably going to have to jack this up and then push the A-arm down and slide it over. It's probably what's going to happen here. I'm going to raise this up until we get this seated. And once we get that seated, then we're going to work it over the bottom A-arm, get those bolts to line up and go down in. We're going to try that. That's probably it right there.
There it goes. You're under now.
Okay, so there you go. You can see we're tight here.
Yep.
This welded collar is tight now. That means I can feel the keyway is now in on the back. And so we're good there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our big bolt. We're going to put that back in. Good and tight. Hard parts, I got to get this down and then move this in. We're going to use a little bit of a red Loctite. Not a lot, just a little. We want to be able to get these off at some point. I don't know. As many miles as this car has, they'll probably never come off again. All right, so these are the nuts. This is the A-arm. It's spring loaded to go up, and the hub assembly here is because of the coil, or the coil up there is spring loaded to come down. So you're kind of fighting these two. One wants to come down, this one wants to go up. So the sequence on this really seems like you loosen everything up here on your strut, pull this bolt out, and then you take these nuts off here, and then you have to separate with a pry bar, just separate this from your hub. But make sure you've got it tied up somehow or whatever, because it's going to want to come too far away and then pull your axle out of your transmission. Ours came out just a little bit, not the seal portion of it, but it did unspline just a little bit, and we just turned the axle and it splined right back in, so not a big deal. But we certainly don't want that falling out. So that is your biggest precaution, is to make sure this does not fall away and drag your axle out of your transmission. Anyway, there's these. I got the Loctite on. I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up. We got it all in. It's done and installed. So just remember, when you go through this, the steering knuckle does not, their steering linkage does not need to come off. We did that just for fun. All right, we'll jump on the back shock and get the back shock done. I'm going to do the other one off camera. You don't need to see it twice. Here's what we're going to do here. We are going to pop off the shock on the here and see if we can't get this swapped out. So I got new shocks, so let's get them in. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you exactly what needs to be done here. You can see there's a bolt right there. That's for the bottom end of the shock. And then if you look, it's going to be hard to see, but there is, you're not going to be able to see them. It's really going to be hard to see. But at the top there, on either side of it, there's two, looks like 10 millimeter bolts that I can get with a long extension. And if I get the one down here off, pull it aside, and then take those two up there, that should just come right out. I never get to see the outside of my car.
You're looking at it now.
So that's what it looks like. Independent suspension in the rear, kind of nice. I never really knew it had that. I just never paid any attention to it. But man, there's all kinds of skid plates, and it's all like fiber material. It's not very strong. And it's all tore up. I hit a lot of things when I drive. Oh, there we go. Did you hear that?
The light came out.
There you go. That's a long bolt too. All right. There it is. Right on it. Can't even see it, and I got on it. All right, so we have the two top bolts are out. Bottom one. There. Now you can see what I was talking about with the two top bolts.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we'll pull the old one out, but I'm pretty sure that this cap's got to come off, and you got to unbolt this and use this again on your other shocks. So there you go. There you go. There's your bolt. Came with a new bolt. It's a locking bolt, so we'll swap it out and use the new one. All right, let me get that off, and then we'll go from there. You got to use an Allen wrench in here and hold it. It's just spinning, so I'll have to get an Allen wrench and an open end to get this off. It's a 14, and it's this size, whatever that is.
Wow.
Oh, there it goes.
Jeez. Didn't want that coming off, did they?
Okay. All right, there we go. We'll just slide this onto the new one. All right, we'll slide the new one on. It'll be just real simple. We'll just slide the new one on because it's, it's just going to be really easy. I don't even get this.
The hole is there. You just got to hit it.
I told you it'd be easy. Okay. Now the next step, we'll put this new nut on. Since it'll have a fresh locking nut, I don't want to, instead of using the old one, we'll do that. Okay, let me get the vice grips. We'll just hold on to that, and then we'll just tighten that up. There you go. Basically, that's all I got to do is got to hold the rod and run the new nut down. And it's a little tight because it's got the lock-in feature on it. All right, so you can see how they got the end down here. We're going to go ahead and I think get that on there so you don't have to try and hold this up there. There you go. Slides on there. We'll get the big bolt back in. Just get it started. And now onto the fun part. We're going to have to try and get the those two bolts at the top started. Okay, so I can actually see that one. I just don't know if we're there it is. Okay, let's see if we can get the other one started. This one's a little trickier. There we go. All right.
Those weren't fun.
Top two are in. All I got to do now
Like that one.
is tighten up this this back one, and we can go ahead and put the tire on this side. All right, we got the big bolt down there. We tightened it, and we're getting this, and I think that's going to be it. So you got to see the front struts. You got to see the shocks in the back. We worked through some problems with it, but hopefully you guys were able to find and learn from what we went through. So you can kind of see the pitfalls. Just seeing the perfect way to do it doesn't always help you. Sometimes seeing the things that can happen and what happens if they happen and how to avoid them. So hopefully we showed you a little bit of everything. Catch you guys on the next one, all right?